I want to talk to you about Fundwise Capital. And if you're looking for a business funding, there are a lot of lenders out there, but Fundwise actually has something specific for you. And I want to speak about that into this conversation. So let's first define what this lender is all about. Okay. So, what is Fundwise Capital? Basically, you want to really think of them as a financing services company. They really help you acquire. I mean, they really want to help you acquire the business funding that you want. Okay. So, but the company itself is not a direct lender. So here you are speaking about a lending platform. Okay. So if you're looking for a direct lender, do not go to Fundwise. In other words, Fundwise has a network of lenders to which it goes to for business funding. Okay. So Fundwise actually will connect you as a small business owner to funding programs with third-party lenders and capital funding companies. So, what are the capital funding companies? Those are alternative financing companies out there. So, you are speaking about Fundwise reaching out to banks, to credit unions, to online lenders, to alternative lenders, and other types of lenders. Okay, and so Fundwise Capital will match you to funding programs that meet your needs. So if you want to improve your credit rating, you could benefit from the company's credit counseling program. So this is kind of cool, and they don't charge for that credit counseling program. So the company, when you think about Fundwise Capital, what I love is that they specialize in startup funding, offering some very unique programs. Okay, but it also caters to established businesses. Okay, so you have their customers include a diverse range of individuals, including small business owners, real estate investors, and more. So you have a large array of borrowers. So this Utah-based company launched in May 2020. So they launched during COVID. Okay, so they advertise funding programs to finance business needs such as startups, inventory, hiring employees, okay, payroll, consulting, franchises, marketing, real estate, emergencies, restaurants, expansion, and vehicles. So, what are the business options you can really have through Fundwise Capital this year? Well, you have three main types of funding, business funding options. You have lines of credit, you have installment loans, and you have business credit cards. Yes, Fundwise Capital can help you get a business credit card. Okay, so let me first talk to you about the line of credit. So if you go through the Fundwise Capital line of credit program, you can expect to get anywhere from 25,000 all the way to $300,000, and the interest rates are basically 0% for 9 to 15 months and 1% to 2% per month afterwards. Okay, in other words, they give you the first 9 to 15 months free. And in terms of in terms of the repayment window, you are looking at 6 to 18 months. So Fundwise's partners offer both personal and business lines of credit. Startups are more likely to get a personal line of credit, while existing companies can get a business line of credit. Okay, so this is kind of cool. And you also have installment loans. Here, you're looking at the same range, the same loan amount range. So you have 25,000 all the way to $300,000, and so this is kind of cool. And the terms here, you have 3 to 7 years. 3 to 7 years, that's pretty good. And so, what about business credit cards? Well, the thing is that you are able to get a business credit card through Fundwise Capital, and so basically, you can get a limit of 10,000 all the way to $100,000 if you apply through Fundwise. Okay, so the cool thing is that business credit cards typically offer some perks and programs unique to businesses. So while financing business expenses on a credit card can be expensive, there are some ways to actually reduce the risks. Okay, because most business credit cards, for example, come with a 21-day grace period where you will not pay any interest if you pay it off in that time. Also, Fundwise can actually offer sorry about that, can offer cards with an introductory 0% APR in the first 6 to 12 months, which is really excellent for startups. Okay, and you can really, if you think about it, you can really save money on interest with these programs. So this is kind of cool. Now, after the intro APR period is over, you you can expect to pay anywhere from 15% to 26%, depending on your FICO score, but also your company's profile, financial profile. So if you think about Fundwise Capital this year, what kind of qualifications should you think about? Well, you gotta. There is no requirements for time in business. In other words, if you are a startup, you can still qualify. Okay, you can see on the screen that basically they have a large range of applications for their credit programs, from inventory to real estate. In terms of credit score, they will take anything from 400 to 500 minimum. And there is no requirement also for revenue. So they do not really, they do care about revenue, don't get me wrong, but they don't have a standard minimum for revenue. This is more on a case by case basis. So they will assess your application as a whole and see how they can really help you out. So this is kind of cool. And one thing I want to say here is that basically they take a unique approach to credit checks. Okay, so applying for a loan through the service automatically enrolls you in their credit monitoring program, what they call Fundwise Optimize. Okay, so you will upload the results of your personal credit inquiry, and this allows Fundwise to evaluate your credit without doing a hard credit pull. And so this is kind of cool to a certain extent. I mean, the company's website doesn't provide much information on the product offered or how they work. You must apply and receive loan or credit card offers to see your available borrowing amounts, terms, and interest rates. Okay, so since Fundwise is, like I said, not a direct lender, it acts more as a high-level middleman between your business and the lender. So Fundwise can help you with some issues, but you will have to contact the lender directly at other times. Okay, so this is something to really think about. So since the company doesn't make money from interest like a direct lender, it makes money from fees charged to clients. Okay, so Fundwise it also makes money from fees charged to Fundwise partners, and also the Fundwise optimized credit counseling. So for that credit counseling, you can expect to pay a $500 origination fee and a 9% approval fee on installment loans and lines of credit. So just be aware of that payment. So how do you apply to a Fundwise Capital this year? So what I love about the whole application process is that it's pretty user friendly, it's pretty streamlined, but also pretty fast. Okay, so expect to spend about 1 to 2 minutes on the application on the sorry about that, on the application process. Okay, so what happens here is that you are able to to have all the info ready and just get things started. So you just need to upload your initial credit report, and you may need to sign up for the credit monitoring service also. Okay, now there are ways where they might ask you to provide proof of income. So proof of income in terms of your pay stubs, or let's say your tax returns for the last 3 years. So if you are a startup, you might have to provide proof of personal income. So your pay stubs, your bank statements, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So so once you apply online, what happens here is that you need to determine your funding program. Remember that there are three main categories, okay, to really account for. You have lines of credit, you have installment loans, and you have business credit cards. So you have to choose which one is actually suitable for your needs, your company needs. But the thing is, you're not left alone to actually choose your funding program. You actually will speak to somebody at Fundwise, let's say a specialist at Fundwise, to really guide you throughout the process. Okay. And as a matter of fact, you don't even have to wait. Somebody from Fundwise will contact you. They'll contact you to gather more information about your business, and that person, that specialist, will work to put together the right funding program for your specific needs. Next, I want you to really, you probably will get funded if you are approved, right? But the process is the process takes longer because Fundwise Capital is not a direct lender. It might take you somewhere from 2 weeks to 3 weeks to receive your funds, okay? Which is really long for an alternative lending platform, but this is how they roll. This is how they work there at Fundwise Capital, okay? Just be aware of that. Now, the company doesn't publish any information about the post-funding process. It provides some best case scenarios videos after you receive funding, but most customers don't find them very, very helpful. So you just need to go through the process to see how things work. So what are the advantages of Fundwise Capital and the disadvantages of this lender this year? So if you think about Fundwise Capital, what I love is that, and this is a major advantage, and it's their program around startup funding, okay? While other lenders don't provide as many or as extensive options to startups, basically, Fundwise Capital will fund you, not a problem, even if you're a startup, okay? So that's the first advantage. Number two, you have the application process. Really, really easy, really, really quick. 1-2 minutes, okay? You go through the process. Now, there's a difference between applying and being approved, right? Being approved and being funded will take you, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks. But the initial application will take you 1 to 2 minutes, okay? And this is kind of cool because, and by the way, the process is streamlined, which means what? It means that you apply one time and it gets your application gets dispatched to several lenders. That way, you don't have to research every lender and really apply for loans on multiple lenders' website. Okay. Another advantage with Fundwise Capital is the fact that you have unsecured loans. So there is no unsecured loans or lines of credit. In other words, you don't have to pledge collateral, okay? You don't have to pledge your company's machinery, your personal assets, all that kind of stuff. This is kind of cool. And another advantage that I find very interesting with Fundwise Capital is the fact that if you are a startup, you might get an intro period of 0% interest rates on some products. You can fund business expenses to get the company up and running and then pay the debt off interest, okay? Interest-free when revenue starts coming in. So what are the disadvantages of Fundwise Capital? Well, basically, lack of transparency. So the Fundwise website is not very informative. They don't provide resources. You must apply to see what's available to you, what's available for your business, okay? And most alternative lending options carry higher rates than traditional lenders. This is usually because of the convenience of online lending and because most online lenders work with businesses with low credit scores. So this is something to really think about. You also have the fees that Fundwise Capital is charging big time. And finally, the fact that they have a very long, very, very long approval process and funding process. So 2 to 3 weeks, that's very long. But hey, listen, this is what it is. So what are the Fundwise Capital pros and cons here? I quickly want to go through the pros and then I'll speak to you about the cons. So if you think about the pros, the major pro that you have to remember is the intro 0% interest period for some lending product. Can you imagine? You're getting free funding. You're getting free funding on some products, especially if you are able to borrow all the way to $250,000. That's a lot of cash you can get for free for 6 to 18 months. Okay, so that's a big pro here. And also, the credit monitoring service is interesting, even though they're charging you. Okay, I think this is a mixed bag there. I mean, they're doing a good thing. I mean, it started off as a good thing, but because they're charging that much on top of the service, it really negates the whole process. Okay, but hey, listen, it is what it is. You also have multiple unsecured lending products available. So this is also a big yes, yes, a big advantage, a big pro here. So this is what it is. On the flip side, you must apply to see amounts, rates, and terms. You have a high credit score requirement for some products. Rates and fees can be expensive. You saw the fees like up to 9% of the loan amount. That's really tough. Okay, and also the lack of transparency is something that Fundwise Capital needs to work on. Right now, where they're at, it's not really interesting. I mean, they're very secretive. They're very. I mean, I understand that they do not want to publish the rates and terms from a competitive point of view. I understand that, but they have to really provide some kind of information. Okay, you don't have to give the exact APR, but you can give a range. That way, we let's say researchers, we can analyze, we can compare and contrast what Fundwise Capital is offering versus where the competition is offering. So one thing I want to say also is that Fundwise Capital is a legit company. Okay, they've been around for the last 5 years. They started in 2020 during COVID. I mean, that's where they saw an opportunity, and they actually have been helping, let's say, thousands of small businesses ever since. Okay, so this is a legit company, and while it doesn't have accreditation from the Better Business Bureau, it does have an A plus rating at the Watchdog site. Okay, and this is kind of cool. People love generally the fact that basically with Fundwise Capital, they have great customer service. Okay, and people also love the fact that they have a funding manager that's actually attentive to their situation. Okay, and people also love the fact that the application process is very simple, it's very quick, very easy. And also, people love the fact that they are able to get things done faster through the guidance they got in the credit monitoring process. Okay. Now, on the flip side, people hate the fact that the company's reps are not really clear in their communication. Also, it's important to understand that people don't appreciate the fact that the website is not really informative. So, if for any reason Fundwise Capital declines your business loan request, you have the possibility to actually apply at other lenders. Okay, the good thing is you have tens of thousands of business lenders who are willing to work with you, and also you can also try to apply for other business funding programs besides lines of credit, installment loans, and business credit cards. You can try, for instance, SBA loans. You can try merchant cash advances, accounts receivable factoring arrangements. Okay, you can try working capital loans. You can try equipment financing, and you can try also ERTC advances. So basically, you have all kinds of business funding programs you can apply for. Okay, that's really important. So Fundwise overall, in our view, is best suited for small business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs with average to good credit who are seeking startup capital. The service offers attractive options such as intro periods with 0% and low interest rates. That's pretty good. And personal and business lines of credit also help startups get ongoing funding to run their businesses. So, in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about Fundwise Capital. I define what this lender is all about, what kind of business options they have, business funding options they have, what are the qualifications, how to apply, what are the pros and cons, and now the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.